Building STEAM. As early adopters of technology, it's important for Cherokee Nation citizens to share about our advanced educational pursuits. Osio Nagad, Jennifer Lauren Dawado. Hello everyone, I'm Jennifer Lauren, Cherokee Nation citizen and host of Osio, Voices of the Cherokee People, and Senior Director of Cherokee Film. Welcome to Chalagi, wherever we are. STEAM, a focus on science, technology, engineering, art, and math, is an educational approach that combines these disciplines to encourage creativity, innovation, and imagination, and is vital to building a strong career in most fields. We are excited to have 3 Cherokee Nation citizens with us today who know firsthand the benefits of education. Cherokee Nation Health Services Executive Medical Director, Dr. Beth Harp, Health Services Deputy Executive Director Brian Hale, and Deputy Executive Director of Education, Aaron Emberton. Here is today's lineup. We'll start today's show with remarks from the Principal Chief of the Cherokee Nation, Chuck Hoskin Jr. Then Chief Hoskin will join me to talk a little bit more about his take on the importance of STEAM education. After that, we'll see an interview led by Deputy Chief Bryan Warner with Dr. Harp and Brian Hale of Cherokee Nation Health Services. Next, I'll welcome Aaron Emberton to the studio to talk all things Cherokee Nation education and how we are incorporating STEAM. And finally, we are excited to have King Cabbage Brass Band in the studio. Really looking forward to that performance. And now it is my pleasure to introduce my friend and Principal Chief Chuck Hoskin Jr. for his remarks.
Osio, investing in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and STEAM when we rightfully include the arts, is not just a smart move, it's essential for our future as the largest tribe in the country. First off, STEM and STEAM education tracks give Cherokee citizens the tools they need to think critically and solve problems. And in today's world, these skills are crucial. Whether it's engineering, information technology, healthcare, or environmental science, having a solid base knowledge in these areas open a wide world of career opportunities. We're setting up our young people for success in high-demand jobs that can improve their economic prospects. Now, when we add A for arts into STEM and create STEAM, we're doing something special. The arts are a large part of our Cherokee culture, our stories, our crafts, our cultural expressions. By blending arts with technology, we're not only making learning more engaging, but also honoring our traditions. That mix will help us grow the developing film industry across the Cherokee Nation Reservation. Fostering creativity and innovation are as important as technical skills in the job markets that are driving our future. We know Indian country, including Cherokee Nation, remains underrepresented in science-based fields. But working with Deputy Chief Bryan Warner and the Council of the Cherokee Nation, we're doing more than ever to bridge educational gaps in rural communities. We're committed to challenging young and curious minds. We can't have the next Mary Golda Ross, famous for her role at NASA, unless we are creating a foundation for youth to thrive. More representation means more diverse perspectives in science and technology. That's why we invest in robotics classroom activities for public schools. It's amazing to follow tiny schools within the Cherokee Nation, from Kenwood, Westville, Bell, Tahlequah, and more, compete at the international level when it comes to robotics builds. When the desire to know more is present, we must nurture it. And when that desire is not present, we must plant it. That's why we also have more scholarships than ever for Cherokees nationwide, and many of those target these kinds of fields specifically. We've collaborated with higher education institutions, NSU, OU, and OSU, to build a better pipeline of Cherokees prepared for STEAM-related careers. More recently, we teamed with RSU and Claremore to create more opportunities for students to study STEAM, specifically nursing. And our partnership with RSU will help construct a state-of-the-art STEM center on that campus to serve all students and prepare for Northeast Oklahoma's economic future. There is a national workforce shortage in the healthcare field, which leaves 75 million Americans without adequate care in certain areas. That's why we are educating new nurses and physicians with RSU and OSU to help address the region's health workforce shortage. In the truest spirit of Gadugi, we are pairing excellent education and career opportunities. When we invest in education, we're investing in the whole community. It's about empowering our youth, honoring our culture and history, and building a stronger, more sustainable future. Widow.
Widow Chief, great remarks. Thanks for joining me to discuss the value of STEM or STEAM. This is a relatively new approach to education, gearing students for a more technical and complex workforce. Why is it important to you that we highlight this approach on today's show?
Well, it's where the economy is and where it's increasingly going. And it's such a wide array of things. In fact, as I think about this topic coming up today, I realize there's so much that I don't know in terms of the world of opportunity. But I know it's there, whether it's in the creative arts and producing what we're doing in this studio, creative content, whether it's working in a state-of-the-art factory, the kind we want to bring into Northeast Oklahoma to produce the latest in technology, might be clean energy, might be other areas. That's all where the country and the world's going, and we need to make sure our citizens are prepared for that. And of course, it starts with young people. Just across that range of disciplines, there are so many opportunities to get good paying jobs and increasingly do them almost anywhere. That's important for Cherokee people because almost anywhere is home, and home may not be in an urban area. In fact, it usually is not. But to be able to have a meaningful career, stay rooted physically in your community, that's a plus too for the Cherokee people, and that's what we want to support.
So are Cherokee Nation schools like Sequoia and the Immersion School utilizing STEAM or STEM education?
They are in ways that are really amazing. I was thinking earlier today about the airplane that they're building. Sequoia students are building in Tahlequah. So they're learning aeronautics engineering.
Wow.
That's a career, I mentioned a while ago, that some jobs you can do from anywhere. Increasingly, that career is one where people, if you've got a good connection and a good computer and the right skills, you can be a part of a aeronautic manufacturing workforce. And in fact, we have a deficit of those kind of folks in Oklahoma where we've led the country, and so we ought to be part of that. And so as I see those Sequoia students building that airplane, I think about that. Of course, there's a range of other things. There's even gamers that are understanding how gaming is developed, and that's an important part of a lot of industries because it's not just adaptable to entertainment gaming, but that's adaptable to other aspects of IT, computer software engineering. It's just so much that touches our everyday lives, and our people can be a part of it. And when you go see Sequoia or even the Immersion School using the latest in technology, you see that we're helping those folks along.
That's really cool. So I know Cherokee Nation donates a lot of money to area schools, Cherokee and non-Cherokee across the reservation. Does the tribe have any say-so or weigh-in on the school curriculum?
You know, not formally, but it's good to have this discussion, and we need to hear back from our citizens. In fact, I hope that question from you to me sparks this question among our citizens. We don't formally have a role in that, but we can influence it. The baseline fact is that we provide funding every year that's very needed, and oftentimes it goes to support robotics programs. Sometimes we do a separate stream of funding or in-kind resources that supports robotics programs or other opportunities. I'll never forget when I was in Bell and this boy that was in middle school or probably sixth grade, I asked him what he wanted to be when he grew up, and he said, I want to be a medical engineer, which I don't know what that is, but I don't think there's many or any in Bell. But this young man, the world was opened up to him. And so if we can encourage schools to do more of that, resources helps, that helps. But the discussion that I think we need to have as a tribe is we put a lot of resources into public schools. We don't run them. But what kind of role should we play? Advisory, consultation, or should we specifically sort of tie what we do to what the curriculum is? I think our leadership in education across different departments in the tribe are not only as capable as any other policymaker and person in the field. I think we're some of the best, and I think we can add something to public schools that I think could use the guidance at times.
Absolutely. Under your administration, with the encouragement of Deputy Chief Warner, Cherokee Nation instituted an initiative that was geared toward post-secondary vocational and technical schools, the Career Tech Grant and Native American Career Technology Education Program. What is the importance of these types of programs, especially at this moment in time?
Well, what we were thinking about was if we're going to, as a government, do something to help our people get a foothold in the workforce, the kind of jobs that will be meaningful to them and help them financially lead a sustainable life and in turn help all of us. Yes, we put a lot into college, and that's going to continue to be where we put a lot of resources. In fact, we'll see a record-setting number of college students on scholarship this year. But there are a lot of jobs that you can get with training through that career tech system or other types of learning environments. And as I think about some of the employers that we're collectively trying to bring to Northeast Oklahoma, I'm talking about things like major EV manufacturers and other things of that nature. You can get those skills at the technical school level. And so that investment was in a sense, a pilot program. We use a lot of federal dollars, but we steered them towards that. But I think it's reminding us as we go forward on a sustainable basis, we need to put it maybe on an even plane, college readiness and college scholarships, and going into post-high school career techs. Those are most valuable. All learning is valuable, all knowledge is valuable. We need to make sure that Cherokee people can go to a career tech, have it paid for, sustain themselves while they're going there, because not only is it expensive, it's a time commitment, and then they go out and I think have these rewarding careers. As policymakers, we have to think about that more and more.
And it gives more choices too, yeah.
It does.
There also appears to be a major disparity in the female to male ratio for those employed in STEAM fields. So is Cherokee Nation doing anything to get more girls interested in STEAM disciplines?
Well, we're doing it in the sense that we're making sure that when we reach into a school and provide these opportunities, that we're mindful that females are underrepresented. And I think we should do more. In fact, I think we should acknowledge that that statistic, which you and I are staring at right now, has been around for a while.
Yeah.
For decades and generations, Cherokee Nation wasn't in a position maybe to move the needle on that issue. Because we believe in it, making it better and caring about it, it does seem to me that because we can do more now, it's a resource issue, it's our capacity issue, we've got more of both, we ought to do more. And so it does get me thinking, your question and the feedback from other citizens, what can we do to encourage a little girl? I'm thinking about Mary Golda Ross, who did this amazing work for the space program, and for a long time she was in some sort of anonymity, and we've rediscovered her in the last decade or so. There's a lot of Mary Golda Rosses out there. We have to encourage them. The old saying, you can't be what you can't see. We need to make sure that young people, including girls who are underrepresented, can see that. And I think we have an obligation, to do some more about it.
Well, that is very encouraging to hear. It's reported that the average salaries for these related fields is more than double other fields. So if a person gets a STEAM education, they may be able to find a job opening, maybe within the Cherokee Nation or Cherokee Nation businesses. Can you talk more about the need for STEAM professionals and the various fields where we are hiring?
Yeah, it's an array of things, and think about it, Jen. You and I have been working in Cherokee Nation in different capacities for a while. We've seen a lot of change. Part of it's the growth and diversity of our business portfolio, and so you're talking about businesses that span the globe that are in things like IT security. In fact, we have a major contract providing that service to the government of the United States. We need as many people doing that so we can do a great job. We need as many Cherokee people doing that. And so if that's long-term what we're doing, and cybersecurity is a major issue for the world, there's opportunities there to work for Cherokee Nation. Imagine that. Here we are talking about working for Cherokee Nation, but you're in cybersecurity. Our systems across Cherokee Nation that we support through IT infrastructure really grow as our nation grows. So we're talking about a whole IT healthcare system in our healthcare system that's really growing. One of the most exciting things, and we're talking about STEAM, so we're adding arts to the mix of the traditional disciplines that we think about, is we're in a studio now that is state of the art. It's what you would see in Hollywood. It is where creative content is happening today, where it's going to happen increasingly tomorrow. We want Cherokees to do these things. We've got talented people right here behind these cameras and control systems, and that will do the post-editing of all this stuff. That's a real skill set. That's real knowledge. It takes a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent out there. And so think about that. We're in a day and age in which you can say, I want to be in TV production. You can do it at the Cherokee Nation. That's real. That's not just aspirational. And so as we grow this part of our businesses, they're really amazing mixture of arts and the rest of it, and that's why it's STEAM, really comes together so amazingly at Cherokee Film and the other things that we're doing. So young people out there have so many opportunities to work for their people.
It's really exciting to see. And I know people can go online and find all of those opportunities at CherokeeNationBusinesses.com, on Cherokee Nation's website. So encourage you all to take a look and see what jobs are out there. So,
Absolutely.
Chief Hoskin, as always, Wado for joining me today. Thanks for informing us on this important topic.
Thank you.
We now join Deputy Chief Bryan Warner as he talks with Dr. Beth Harp and Brian Hale from Cherokee Nation Health Services. Deputy Chief?
What Jen? CO to God, hello everyone. Brian Hale sadly could not be with us, but today we have our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Beth Harp, joining us. Dr. Harp, how are you doing today?
Doing well, thanks. How are you?
I am well. Well, thank you for joining us today. I know your schedule, just like everyone that works at the Cherokee Nation, is very busy. We want to say a big wado to you for taking time to come in and visit with us about STEAM. Now, before I get going, there's STEM, science, technology, engineering, math. If you do the STEAM, you add the A, so you're adding the arts. Hey, I'll go one step further. How about STREAM? So you add that reading component in there. But specifically today, I know you grew up in Westville. You've worked here quite some time. How important was it to you going through grade school and growing up in rural Oklahoma, getting introduced to the STEM and the STEAM activities that are out there for these kids? What was available for you back then?
Well, it's incredibly important, and you can see even today there's a huge disparity in rural Oklahoma, and especially in women. And if you look at it further, it's kind of mind-boggling the disparity with Native Americans going into STEAM or even STREAM careers. For me, growing up, my mom was a high school, middle school science and math teacher, right. So I'm a little probably biased, but we face the same struggles a lot of rural schools, underfunding. Just really having the teachers to come to the community that really want to take the basic science and math and rise it up to that next level. I had a great education and had that access, but my experience wasn't necessarily the standard as to what kids may have gotten. Early in elementary, there wasn't as much. We had some teachers, science, and if they knew I was interested, I've always been intrigued by anatomy, physiology. So I think teachers recognize that, and they try to engage and foster that, and that's important. How important do you think is it for our members of our communities, our Cherokee citizens? Man, some of them, they're just ready to go to work, and they learn about these bridge programs. But as your career has blossomed here within the Cherokee Nation, how many individuals have you come across that took that 2-year career path to get here? Yeah, several. I mean, every day, the one I think of, right off the top of my mind is LPNs, our nurses, absolute backbone of everything that we do here, and just incredible, hardworking individuals, and recognized early on what their passion is, what their desire is, and went to a trade school or went to a 2-year program somewhere and immediately entered the workforce. And I always, I've seen those, and, some of those LPNs, become RNs, and then I've seen some go on and become an advanced practice nurse. And so, it's tremendous. I mean, everywhere you look, you see them. Our radiology department, diagnostic radiology techs, some of our sonographers, we all come together as a team, and I can't do my job without them, and they're so important and crucial. And so those jobs are just, all over the health system. There's pathways for individuals. We want these people that are going to watch this to understand what internally we're doing, but also externally. Can you tell us a little bit about what you know about Operation Orange from our partners at OSU? Certainly. So I'm a product, if you will, of some of the Operation Orange. So whenever I was a student at Northeastern State University, I attended one, and really it was a great opportunity to connect, to learn more about the school, learn more about osteopathic medicine, and you meet and greet people, and it gives you a chance to feel very connected to that campus and the faculty that work there, which is one thing that I think Oklahoma State University does such a good job, and I think why we work so well together as partners, because we value family, we value that the same types of things, and so they immediately, you feel welcomed and like it's a big family. But absolutely, I did that whenever I was at Northeast State University. It's something you can put on your CV. They like to see it. It's really a great opportunity for kids to have some exposure to the school and learn about medicine and just kind of catch a glimpse of what it is and pique their interest, you know. And I know OSU loves it because it's a great way for their students to give back and again, encourage and support, you know, STEM and STEAM in those in those students.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, we've talked a lot about medical, but STEAM, you know, we're filming Cherokees wherever we are, and I mean, so those individuals that work behind the scenes, it's very important. So I think a lot of people, they think directed, you know, STEAM and STEM activities towards the medical side, but there's so many things happen with technology today that I think that arm of education is going to be stronger than ever. Can you tell us anything about our internal efforts here at the Cherokee Nation, working with individuals of a variety of ages, and what do we do here for any career exploration?
Yeah, so actually we have a career exploration program where we're able to get 14 and 15-year-old students from the community to come on campus and actually get to visit with people with different backgrounds. One of our COOs, he comes in and talks about clinic administration and operations, that aspect. Radiology lab, you know, we have our physicians, our dentists, and it really gives a chance for them to get a variety of exposure to different careers in medicine. IT also is a big one. We health IT here, they come in and we'll tell them a lot about what's going on because it's a huge part of what we do here as well. We've also got participation in the internship program, so we do have some interns that rotate through, looking in different, you know, departments in our clinic and where they may be interested to work or think they may be interested in working, and provide them a little bit of some exposure and experience in the clinic, and that's been a great opportunity for us to connect with those students, and then also provide, you know, letters of recommendation or, you know, further, you know, opportunities to grow their career.
Excellent, excellent. So is there anything that you would like to tell, if you had just that one thing, and you had an individual from the most rural area that you can think of on the Cherokee Nation reservation, and they said to you, I want to be a doctor, and let's give them an age, they're 8 years old, where are you directing them?
I'm going to probably let them know that work hard, you know, work hard. Find the teacher that encourages you and just confide in them, work with them, let them guide you on your career path. Anytime we have any availability to do any school activities with the residency program, even school physicals, anytime we can get a resident on site, you know, I think just encouraging that to get to kids like that. But, you know, for the most part, I think I'm telling the 8-year-old to just, you know, work hard, set the bar high for what you want, and chase it down. And any time that you need something, you know, reach out to Cherokee Nation, reach out to your community members. But for me, I think it was always, I can think back to teachers, you know, in elementary, middle school, high school, and those were the ones that encouraged me. They could see I was interested.
Right.
No one ever said, I think when I was in 3rd grade, I said I wanted to be a brain surgeon, right? Not even know, but no one said, no, you can't do that, you know? I mean, they were like, okay, and my 4th grade teacher, you know, I remember she was like, hey, you know, we're gonna do these things where you color the digestive organs, you cut them out, we're gonna laminate them, and I kept, my mom and dad kept it for years, right? I mean, they probably still have it, but those kind of things, when you have a teacher that can identify a kid that is interested and just encourage that child and just help mold that child and direct them into the right areas, is just, that's going to be the key. You
said the teacher, you know, and that was when you got to talk, and that's what I got to thinking about, and I think that's why it's so important that Cherokee Nation Education Department is in these schools providing these resources. We try to get out as much communication because those kiddos, we show them a way to go. You know, we're so many times you get into academia, and there's so many people that they end up being sifters. You know, that was what I was told. You know, hey, you know, you're the chemistry teacher. You probably end up sifting people out from going to nursing school. And I was like, oh no, I'm a lifter. I'm not a sifter. I want to lift these people up, and we worked as a unit and as a classroom. But and that's the same thing that we do here at the Cherokee Nation. No matter what department, we all overlap. We cross-cut with one another, and I think Chief Hoskin and the team that he's put together is something that is great. But I know you're one big shining star here at the Cherokee Nation from Bryan Warner's standpoint of view, and Thank you for everything that you do, Dr. Harp.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. I appreciate it. I just, it's always been a privilege. It's an honor. I felt called, from the time I went into medicine that this is where I needed to be. This is what I needed to do and who I needed to serve. And it's been an absolute privilege to the whole, my whole career, starting as a med student and a resident, and medical director, and just advancing my career here has been the biggest blessing, and I'm grateful for everybody around me. I've got a great team, and we have a lot of support from our administration. But thank you. That means a lot.
Well, Wado, Dr. Harp, and now back to you, Jen, in the studio. You guys take care out there, and we'll see you again.
Wado, Deputy Chief, that was a great conversation. Now it is my pleasure to introduce a man with a great passion for education, Aaron Emberton, the Deputy Executive Director for Education. Wado, for joining me today in the studio. If you don't mind, can you tell us what compels you to work in educational administration for our tribe, and what does your day-to-day job look like?
Oh, wow. Well, sure. Well, first, thank you, Wado, for allowing me this opportunity. Prior to coming to Cherokee Nation, I spent my time in higher education. And during that time, I had the honor of working on a grant that was focused on the retention and graduation rates of Cherokee Nation citizens and Native Americans in general. So I really had a chance to really see firsthand those barriers that our citizens were facing regarding either retaining in school or getting their degree. So once I had the opportunity to come to Cherokee Nation, I brought some of that knowledge and experience with me to understand that our students are really struggling, not necessarily with what we might think of the tuition cost. That's always a factor.
Sure. But
we never think about the effects of leaving home. We never think about the effects of them going to a place that maybe not have the cultural significance that they need in their lives. So those are areas that we looked at, and now we've brought to Cherokee Nation to try to really hone in some of those barriers to help our students achieve their success and obtain those degrees and come back to work for the Cherokee Nation.
That seems like incredibly valuable experience to bring home to Cherokee Nation. That's great to hear. So today we want to talk about STEM or STEAM education. So from your perspective, what is involved in a STEM or STEAM program?
Well, sure. Let's first start with the acronym, right?
Yeah.
STEM and STEAM. STEM is the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And of course, when you put the A in there, that's calling for the arts. And really what we're looking at with STEM education is an inquiry-based approach to education, a hands-on real-world experience in learning, and then also taking that and doing investigations and providing an answer that comes back that you've experienced. So more of an experiential type of learning. And so when you add the arts into that, that also incorporates a much more focus on like design, creativity, that we all have and that we all use. But I really bring the focus to that area, whether it be music, design, computer technology that uses designs, or film. We're talking about all those areas that art can impact, but also in that science type of inquiry-based approach to learning, which gives students the ability to really not just put an answer on the page, but understand why that answer is on the page.
And how they got there.
And how they got there, right? So it's that investigative approach, inquiry-based approach where there's experiential learning going on with hands-on real world experience.
So what does Cherokee Nation provide to citizens in terms of grants and funding if they want to have a STEAM education? And
Sure.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that we do through the MVT compact that we have, our MVT funds, we have a grant that is for STEM grants for classrooms. So individual classrooms, teachers across the reservation can apply for these grants and institute curriculum, or maybe it's technology that they need in their classroom to help bolster their STEM programming. So there are grants that way. And of course, our scholarship is a way to get students into that education space, and then they can find those avenues where they want to apply their knowledge, whether it be STEM or any range of degree plans. But we do have the grants available to classrooms, which is a really nice program, again, through our MVT funds that are very crucial to our school districts across the reservation. And again, scholarships, but really I think too, it's access to STEM education. So we want to be providing not just dollars, but also building curriculum. So right now, we have in our department, we're working on a curriculum to send out to schools that is culturally based in Cherokee Lifeways. And that way we can not just teach STEM, but we can also teach STEM with a cultural appropriate curriculum. And so that's what we're looking at right now.
That
And that way
great.
we could provide that to across the nation, not
That
just in
sounds
the reservation.
great.
Yeah.
Really cool. Really cool to hear. And I want to rewind just a minute. And you said the MVT fund. So that's a motor vehicle tax,
Correct.
right? So,
Right.
okay, just for anybody that didn't know what that was.
Sure. Sorry.
No worries. So what are the benefits available to at-large Cherokee citizens? Some of those sound like they would be.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, we can, when we look at how we can provide programming for at-large, one of the things that we look at is summer opportunities. That way, we could bring students to the reservation, or we can actually go out to the outside of the reservation during the summertime and use our cultural resource center staff to go out and teach culturally relevant curriculum, but also bring our STEM program to those students as well. So, you know, that might look like a summer program. For instance, during the summer, we may go out to Oklahoma City and provide a day camp. That way that students that are at large can get their culturally represented STEM programming, and even culturally represented just programming in general. And so that's one way that we do that, is by taking the resources to the students when we're looking at large.
Okay. And if people wanted more information, where could they go to find that out?
Sure. The best place, of course, is Cherokee.org under the Education tab. But you know, anybody in the Education department can really speak to this. But we do have dedicated personnel that once you get to our webpage, there is a link to our STEM programming, and they can find that contact information there, or just call and ask for Aaron.
Yeah.
That'll work
All right.
too.
Call and ask for
Yeah,
Aaron. And
that's
I think,
fine.
and also at the at-large gatherings, usually the Education department sends a couple people. And
we do.
Yeah.
And we'll be out there making sure that citizens are aware of those resources that are available to them at large.
Yeah.
And we're doing more and more. I know that Chief Hoskin and Deputy Chief Warner are really trying to make sure we're doing more for our at-large citizens, and we're doing our part. We're trying to take more of that to them instead of them having to come to the reservation, which we would love for them to. Don't get me wrong. We'd love for you to come home. But making sure that we meet them where they're at.
Sure. Okay, switching gears a little bit, I think we all know that Cherokee Nation citizens can face some pretty tough barriers to getting an education, as you mentioned earlier. So what encouragement can you offer to young people who might be thinking of a career in STEAM or STEM-based fields?
Sure. Well, I think first is just understanding what those barriers look like. And again, like I mentioned previously, it's not always an income issue. That does tie into it. And so, of course, when you think about the income issue, thankfully, Chief Hoskin and Deputy Chief Warner increased the scholarship amounts. So this semester, starting this semester of fall 24, college recipients or college scholarship recipients will receive $2,500 per semester. That's a great scholarship. So that's one way to help battle that. But also, when our students get on campus, a lot of our students see that barrier of just a cultural barrier. And so we're trying to make steps that we're making our contacts and our partnerships with other colleges and universities around the area, making sure they understand that there is a cultural divide, that we can come in and help with that so that our students feel at home on these campuses. So those are just some of the few that we're looking at. So I would tell students looking at STEM and STEAM, first, you don't have to be a mathematician. You know, you see the M on there and it's math, or you see the engineering. You don't have to be one of those. I think STEM and STEAM encompass a whole range of job opportunities within a field. So I think the biggest thing is, don't feel like you have to be great at this one area to be in STEAM. You can have a plethora of knowledge across different fields and fit somewhere into that STEAM area. So I would say just find something you're good at. Find something you really enjoy, stick with it, and see where you can go with it. I know that the Cherokee Nation will help, for sure, help you attain and get to that higher education degree that you'd like. But I guess my encouragement would just be just find what you love. There's something for everybody to love in those five letters of the acronym. And I think another thing is many times there's a preconceived notion that Native Americans probably aren't in the science space. We understand that roughly 47% of Native American students that are in high schools across the nation do not have the higher level math or higher level science classes in their high school. So once they get to college, that's a very tough transition to make if they don't have that within their high schools. So it's another thing that why important for us to do STEM programming within Cherokee Nation is to make sure within the 107 school districts that we serve that we're providing that opportunity for them to see those higher level classes, whether that be virtually through another organization, or we're helping provide teachers with the resources so they feel comfortable and prepared to teach those classes.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that was solid advice. Find something that you love. Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Well, Aaron, I appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me today and for your passion for what you do. It's evident. So, Wado, we appreciate you.
Oh, no, thank you, Jennifer.
Finally, we are very excited to welcome King Cabbage Brass Band into our studio for a special music treat. You're going to love this. Several King Cabbage musicians are Cherokee Nation citizens, and we encourage you to check out the OCO TV episode profiling trombonist Greg Fallis at oco.tv. All right, King Cabbage, take it away.
1, 2, ready, stereo in your lunchbox, cabbage patrol in your drop top, anywhere you go. On the front line, cabbage patrol.
Wow, what a great performance. Thank you, King Cabbage. And if you all have a chance to see them live, you should do so. They are really fun to see live and they are out and about. So look for them and get your tickets. But it was great to have them here in the studio. So thank you so much for joining us. That is it for our show as we continue to have these important conversations that keep us all connected and informed. We will have an all-new show next month and we look forward to welcoming each one of you back here. Cherokees have no word for goodbye. We say, Dodadago Hunt'y, until we see each other again. Wado.